And welcome back to Daily Wrap. It's potluck time. This is a part of the show where we go around the table, share our favorite stories of the day, and if you're wearing multiple bright colors, you get to go first.
Multiple bright colors is right. Well, my potluck sort of feeds off what we were just talking about as far as surveillance and how far is too far. There's a woman named Haley King who has been charged with a Class C felony, which comes with a punishment of up to 20 years for putting Windex and spit in her roommate's food. So what happened was she was in a fight with her roommate. Her roommates were feeling suspicious about what she may be doing when they weren't home. So they set up a nanny cam. And when they got home, they came home to look at the tape, and they saw that she was looking in their food and then putting Windex in their food. Mixing the food up, then she was spitting. She seems to kind of feel like there might be a camera there at that point. But she is taking it, it's a long tape, and she takes it upon herself. There she is spraying the Windex into the food. At other points, she's actually spitting into the food. But it's interesting because nanny cams, have become quite common. People want to know what's going on in their homes, not only with their kids, but with their pets even, Jane. And the question is this type of thing admissible in court? Because she's in her own home. She has a reasonable expectation of privacy, right, in her own home. Courts are split on this, and I think in this particular situation, they will probably find this to be admissible because she's in a common room of the house that she shares with two other girls, as opposed to in her bedroom or in her bathroom.
Does it matter if because they probably rent, right? Like most young people rent, they don't own.
She's pulling out every single item of food and spraying Windex.
It'd be great if she accidentally ate her own food that had the Windex
she was
in it.
spitting in it.
Mike, well, the spitting is disgusting.
But the Windex is dangerous.
It's like attempted murder, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, 20 years. She's facing up to 20 years. It's like tampering with food sources or something. But it's...
Can Windex kill you?
I guess if you put enough of it in there.
Enough of it, right?
Yeah, I'm
she
sure.
could use a defense of, I've got a cleaning disorder, and I thought I was just cleaning I could just see it, a creative...
Maybe. You could write a book about this.
This surveillance thing really gets itself into all kinds of layers, because it certainly seems that if you're living with someone who's doing this kind of thing, or if you have a nanny who lives in your house, do they have a reasonable expectation of privacy in which rooms? The other thing that's interesting about that tape is there's no audio. If most nanny cams don't have audio, because if there's audio, you run into wiretapping laws, whereas if it's just video, there isn't that problem. So, again, with the technology sort of getting ahead of where the law is, it's a situation where certainly it seems like this should be admissible, but it's not a done deal.
Can we just analyze the tape real quick again?
In slow motion with the...
I know who this woman is. Well, not that way, but it's very clear when you look at her. She is Tanya Harding's younger sister. It's very simple, right? The same
Instead of the
kind
pipe
of
to the
hair.
Okay, now we can do a poll. How many people watching know who Tanya Harding is?
I would say less than 14%.
The old knee cracker.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of a
The
pipe
old
to the knee.
knee cracker. That's unbelievable.
But the lesson here is that,
Nice kid there.
Be careful who you room with,
Right.
and maybe don't do on-campus housing. Go off.
This
your own
may
apartment.
actually be off campus, but you're right. Be careful who you room
That's
with,
off
and
campus.
trust your instincts. That's definitely off campus.
Yeah.
But when
you
you
think
have
there's
a
a horror
feeling,
movie in this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they wanted her to move out, and she wouldn't, and instead she tried to poison him with Windex.
Why ever would they want her to move
I
out?
can't understand why they want her to go. She's such a fun roommate.
She certainly gives him a good story.
Oh my gosh.
So how's this going to end up quickly?
All right.
We'll see. I think it will be admissible, and I think she'll be convicted. And I don't know if she'll do 20 years, but she'll do some time.
Absolutely.
I think she should have to do Windows.
Sanity defense.
Well, she's
Two
everybody.
windows.
You're up.
Yeah,
You're
I'm
up.
up.
my gosh.
I'm up. So the date was March 17th of this year. I sat here at this desk, and I predicted that even though Bibi Netanyahu had won the majority, or not even a majority, a plurality of the votes in the Israeli Knesset, that he would have a difficult time forming a government. Everybody, meaning Joe, derided me for this statement. So the time to form a government came, and it passed because he didn't get it done. Not that uncommon, happens in Israel all the time. You need a little extension to get it done because you got to cut deals with parties that you're not really friends with. Today was the last day, though. Up against a midnight clock to form a government or lose the opportunity, Netanyahu succeeded 1 hour before in forming his government. But how did he do it? The only way he could get it done was to cut deals with the most far-right elements of the Israeli Knesset, their parliament. I mean, when I say far right, I mean far right. I mean nationalist. I mean people that you wouldn't want to go to a party with, let alone be stuck in a government with. The result is that the Israeli economy will now be under the control of one of these far nationalists. That's the biggest area of the government that Bibi Netanyahu had to give up to somebody who I assure you he didn't want to give it to in order to keep the government. But you know what the worst part is? He has exactly a 1-seat majority now. That's it. 1 seat in the parliament is the difference between not being able to do what he wants and wants to. It won't last more than a year, folks. If you like Israeli elections, there's another one coming to a theater near you very soon.
Very well said, Rick. And it doesn't matter anyway because Bibi is now on top of the polls, on top of Bush and Kasich for the Republican convention. Back with more in a moment.